Take that motion. I'll make the motion to approve the minutes of May 3rd, May 11th, May 4th, and June 8th.
May 24th.
May
24th.
May 3rd, May 11th, May 24th, and June 8th. Thank you.
I'll second. Give me a second. Any discussion on anything?
Yeah, I have a few things. On the public minutes of May 3rd, under the page, top of page 3, school board initiative, where we talked about the implementation process, I just noted that I expressed that per legal, this was to be started this spring, and we discussed the importance of keeping it in the forefront. That it came from legal. That's on May 3rd, and on May 24th, page 1, under summer hiring policy, that we discussed that the board, for the censor, the board will receive new hires and resignations for the summer of the August meeting, but because we're starting the hiring policy early, the board will receive new hires and resignations at the June meeting, because we're here, and then the superintendent will during the summer, email new hires and resignations to keep the board apprised of what's going on during the summer, because we were like, kind of blindsided by some people posting they were hired and we didn't know. So that we will receive hires and resignations in the non-public in the June meeting, and that June through August, the superintendent will email new hires, just a list of new hires and resignations as they happen, to keep us apprised. And my last, oh no, that was it. Sorry.
Anybody else have anything?
I just had one on the May 24th. And it's just the last vote when I adjourned. The vote was 3-0, not 5.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
Okay. Thank you.
That makes sense.
That's all.
That makes sense.
Anybody else? Right, all those in favor? Oh, what? As amended, all those in favor as amended? Aye. All those opposed? So,
We should have 2 abstentions for. Well, I guess.
I
did
thought
have a
we
slate.
weren't supposed to
That's right,
abstain.
yeah, well,
We don't have.
you don't have to,
Yeah.
but when we do as a slate, that's right, if we did it separately,
yeah,
yeah, okay, never mind, I forgot the slate. Thank you.
and we'll open it up to citizen comment. Any citizen here, have anything, no? Online? Alex, do you have any comments?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Hey, so 2 things. 2 things really briefly. I was thinking about the school year recently. I know the elementary school held a end of year chorus and band concert. So my concern brought to attention, I don't know how Hinsdale middle and high school works, but my curiosity is with the way our budget works, and with us having $150,000 towards our music program, are we going to see in the future some band interactions? So I know we have music going through middle and high school. Curious if we would see like chorus concerts, band concerts, band that plays with the sports or anything like that. So I'm curious if there's more going on with the music program we just haven't seen, maybe due to COVID. And again, as my kids are kind of getting into the middle and high school and now the elementary school, I've noticed the change. So I'm curious on that. So I don't know if that could be addressed or just something that's looked at in the future. I just know that.
I can answer that in there's John's absence, because I'm, familiar with the board, part of that, what we were, and what's going on obviously with it. So just from some history, and for him too, because he hasn't been here, that, 90% of the elementary concert is singing and classroom music, and the band played 4 songs. So at the middle high school, when we brought the feeder program back, there was not a chorus component to it. And you don't sing in middle school classes. There's other pieces to music in middle school. So historically, what has happened the last few years, and it did take a break during COVID, is that we have arts night. And like the art teacher will present all sorts of, and his students, all sorts of art things. I can't think of what the word is. And then music would have, performance music, and then, different groups for, like that, performing, the kids who are learning band instruments. So that hadn't started up after COVID. I don't know why wasn't an arts night, and it was arts, not just music, arts night. So that's the answer to that. So
Do we know how many kids we have enrolled in band?
in middle school,
The last time I took a look, and I believe it's on this sheet, actually, for in instrumentals, there were 21 signed up for this year.
And that's just middle school, that's
That's
the
a
whole-
combination of the.
middle and high school.
I don't think we have high school yet, because Matt came back in 2017, so I don't think there's anybody that's reached ninth grade yet. I could be wrong.
I don't know. I know that we had a couple of upperclassmen that were practicing an instrument and
Okay.
working with Mr. Kennedy. So
Okay.
I'm not sure if that number is included in there. It could be.
I-
I know of 2 high schools.
I don't believe we have on the schedule this year, middle school pull out instrumental lessons. Do you know what I mean? I think I'm sorry, middle school we do. I don't believe we do in high school, where they come down for actual lessons. I think it's just middle school this year.
It was just middle school pullouts. I think
Yeah.
those 2 high schoolers I mentioned
Are just
just-
kids that were,
that were really interested working with Mr. Kennedy during preps and when they had.
because I think, I could be wrong but I know a few kids who I believe they're 8th graders. Yes, because your son's class was the one that started it when he came back, so you know what I mean, like, who went through the feeder, the new-ish feeder program,
From the
are
elementary
8th graders from the elementary school, when he came back and was over there for a couple of years. How, we intended to have him come back and do it totally, but, so I would say there aren't any official kids who went through the feeder program in 9th grade yet, because they haven't.
I know that Mr. Kennedy
yeah.
and we've talked about trying to get the band back together again. So holds a place in my heart when I was in school, but it's not, we were trying to figure it out. It's just a matter of waiting for that wave to catch up.
Yeah, and they would perform at Arts Night, and like I said, Mr. Benson would also schedule it, so I don't know. And it was put on hold during COVID, because we didn't have the gatherings. Yeah,
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because I was just curious, because I went to Keene High School and Keene Middle School, and I remember having all those band events going on and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I remember when my son was in elementary school, they started, you guys revamped up your music program, and they were buying instruments and stuff like that. And it was nice to see. And then once he got into middle school, it seemed like that musical instrument didn't get touched anymore. So
Well, I don't know if he's
thankfully I had
taking
another kid
lessons or
go through the
not, but-
program. And I've had another kid go through the program and utilize the instrument since. And she's going up into the middle school next year. So that was just my concern, was if we're going to see additional support to show that the parents and have that. But I remember that in the past, and that was always nice to see and have an experience. So
yeah,
and then
it would be during Arts Night, which, like I said, we haven't had. So hopefully next year we'll have it, and we'll have middle school band lessons, and hopefully it continues. With 21 kids, that's a fairly decent number when we just restarted the program, 2 or 3 years ago. So
and then my only other concern was just as a parent who I work full time, just the notices of when events are going on. I remember when for the middle school's perspective, or the elementary school's perspective, when NHDI came through and stuff like that, I feel like that notice was very short to parents. So my question is just further transparency and earlier notification to parents, so that they're able to, like, for instance, for myself, I'm able to take that time off to make some of those. Those are the only things that I have on my radar at this time, but I would just like to put that out there to try to advise a little bit more timely, knowing those things if possible.
So you're talking about getting notices for events sooner?
middle school.
Middle school.
Yeah,
elementary
even
school?
even with the recognition night, and I know information started trickling out kind of slowly, but I just felt like it was really slow on coming out, some of the information, and it was a little bit more last minute than it should have. To me, I feel like if we could provide a little bit more notification and more clear notification out to the families, that would be appreciated. And I know my kids are coming home to my house every day, and they're bringing their paperwork home, and I don't see a lot of notification stuff until it's like last minute, besides what I hear from my kids. So it just that, like the towel ceremony, that was very last minute. And then I remember my daughter commenting something about that it was going to be changed. She mentioned that 2 or 3 days prior, but I didn't see any notification. And then I believe it was the day of or the day prior, the notification came out that it had changed schedule. So again, I mean, that's my concern. It's just, it seems like there's a lot of late notice to events. If we could try to just be conscious of that.
Okay, thank you. Sean, do you have any questions?
I don't have anything at this time, thank you.
Thank you. And Karen, did you have any questions or comments?
Not at this time. I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. iPhone, do you have any questions? Or comments? Nope. Okay, thank you. All right, so then we have the superintendent's report.
All right, so this is my last report. Unless we schedule a special meeting, not that I want to plant any seeds. But this
Nina doesn't meet in July, so I said, well, it wouldn't be in July,
okay,
so.
this report is kind of a combination of updating where we are and hopefully providing a roadmap for the new superintendent coming in. So I discussed where we are with job descriptions. We review that a bit later. I talked about things that I think are essential at the middle high school level to continue and encourage future success and sustainability of the program. Basically, continue to work on the master schedule, which is probably a bigger task than I thought it was. And the tuition exploratory committee. Keep that in the forefront. Professional development, there are a lot of thoughts there. We did some work on the 26th of May, continuing our SWOT analysis of trying to synthesize some core concepts and some action statements moving forward, and teacher leadership group will be working with the administration to draft action statements around our SWOT analysis. Overall, I think the groups worked pretty well in the morning. I thought that they were pretty effective for the most part. Then the vertical alignment and the work in the afternoon. Policies, we'll talk about that a bit later. I know you have a survey. There's a lot of data in that survey. And what I would suggest is that we over the summertime, if we can include some administration and staff in synthesizing all of that information from the various surveys that we've completed, putting that together with our SWOT results, and coming up with a plan, to move forward. But there's a lot of good data, in all of that information. Some of it, quite frankly, disturbs me, and some of it is good news. But I think what I have discovered over the last 6 months is, I know we need to work on. So surveys, the 21st Century Grant, that's all good news that we got that grant, continue the HAS program, thankfully. Campus safety and SRO, notating that we need to develop that new SRO agreement with the town over the summertime. talk a lot about professional development and the need to develop a more robust professional development program, time and focus. You know, one of the challenges that I think I had was finding the time in the calendar to get together and to meet with the faculty, you know, and administration. I had 2 days, you know, to really do that work, and that work will be very important to the district, I think, moving forward. And I know the professional development calendar is kind of set in stone next year, but you know, next year's a negotiation year also.
It's not for the teachers, it's not.
Oh, that's right. it's for
Yeah.
parents.
Paris, but we could do something for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whatever we can do to chip away at that
Exactly.
would be great. I really put a plug in for the teacher leadership group. I think that that group provides a framework for district leadership and collaboration. And we've just taken some baby steps in that area to empower teachers and empower staff and have them be partners in our district moving forward. And I feel good about that. You know, there's all kinds of research that supports that kind of framework. It's just a good idea, you know, and I mentioned that teacher leadership is at the heart of transformation of any school. And that, you know, that group will be very, very important. Talk about the student handbook. There's an agenda item coming up. So that's it. And well, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Any questions on this?
All right. Yeah. Anybody have anything?
I don't.
Okay. All right, and Jody's financial report.
Madam Chair, you have my report. Questions, we're happy to answer them.
I have questions, but I feel like I need to sit down with you at some point, just to, because I know that the budget committee will have questions, so I just need the answers to those
Yeah, we'll be happy
Yeah.
to do that.
instead of doing it
Do it
here.
offline.
Yeah. It's just too many to ask
Yeah.
in a meeting like this. Does anybody else have anything? All right, so then we have teaching and learning report. Mrs. Thompson?
Madam Chair, you have my report and I'd be happy to answer any questions. I would like to also just respond to Holly, when she mentioned about the portrait of a learner and how that needs to stay at the forefront. It is still at the forefront of all we're doing. We had to wait for ESSER to approve the funding, and we had 3 rewrites we had to do, so it got sent back and forth 3 times, but it has been approved now as of last week. So, a New Hampshire Learning Initiative has the signed contract, and we intend to hold a discussion meeting at our August meeting at some point. Unless we do something in July with the board, but I know the board wants to be part of the beginning stages of it, so I suspected it would be August before we get everybody together again.
Remind me what ELA is.
English language arts.
Thank you. So that's been put in place from what I'm reading,
Well,
right?
Well, you're gonna vote on that in just a little bit.
Okay,
It's by Donna and Jean.
and those guys are here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Donna's just
Donna's
there
like-
for backup.
Donna's not it.
All right, perfect, thank you.
I do have, not really a question, but since Karen mentioned that, thank you for, you know, addressing what I had said, but I went back through and watched the meeting from last month, and I looked at the minutes, and that's why I put that in the minutes, how I brought up that, you know, the whole Culture and Kindness Initiative was brought up by legal in response to some specific events that, I actually talked with April about this. April's aware of it and what it was from, and I got permission from the person who centered around it and started it off, that kind of kicked it off, to talk about it generally in non-public tonight, so the board knows about it and knows why I kind of been harping on the fact that legal said it was supposed to be happening before the end of the school year. So that'll be a discussion for non-public, but, so yeah, so thank you that we're doing something with it. I am disappointed that it's been 2 months since the board met about it. We got on it like a week after legal brought this plan together, and it's been 2 months and nothing's happened. So I just, I understand everybody's busy, but when the board said, we could put some other stuff on the side to focus on this because it's a major initiative that legal wanted to come down from the board. So I just wanted to just express my really disappointment that it's kind of fleshed out this way, but I am very appreciative that it's going to be moving forward in the fall. And I agree, the Portrait of a Learner process it fits well. I just wish it would have started now and they could go into that. But thank you, Karen.
Yeah, Holly, I do just want to add that I did move on it immediately and write it into we had to get the money approved. So it's just, unfortunately, the ESSER turnaround usually takes one time. This time, of course, it happened to take 3 times for us to get it back and able to get it all approved. So,
thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, when the board talked about it, when legal put it out, we were never told in our first meeting about it that ESSER was involved. So I think maybe our expectation and Matt Upton's expectations were different than what your guys'
Okay.
expectations was,
okay.
Yeah. So, but thank you. I'm glad it's moving forward. Thank you.
Anything else for Karen?
April, I just had one other thing that I just,
Sure.
Fred Vermonte, is doing his sort of state tour around the changes in the ED 306s. And, he held one in Keene that, none of us from Hinsdale could get to. He is willing to come in August and do a forum in Hinsdale. He's doing these at schools all over the state, just to give an overview of the changes that are up and coming. We don't have to do it in August. He doesn't anticipate any changes in the ED 306s will happen for at least 6 months. But I do want to get that on the radar so I can book him if we'd like him to come to the school and do any work with us.
I'm in favor of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think,
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
do we need to vote to do it or just consensus to go ahead and book him?
I think consensus. Do you want to vote? Okay. Either way.
I don't know that we need to.
You have to record.
I say go for it, Karen.
So you're giving me permission to go ahead and book him
Yes.
for maybe in August or September. I'd like to do it in August because September will be really working on the Portrait of a Learner, so it might be a lot, but I'd like to see if I can get him here in August.
Yeah, I would say go for it.
Okay, thank you.
And SAU 29 recently put out the minutes and notes and whatever from their presentation by Fred, and the questions that were asked and stuff. So that might be something good to look at beforehand, so we can kind of get an idea of what people in that presentation asked, so
Yes, okay, thank you for that.
Yep.
Principals report. I'm assuming that's you, Chris?
Yep, Madam Chair, you have the principal's report for the middle high school. I'd be happy to answer whatever questions I can.
So I was happy to see, congratulations to Mason for getting recognized by Rescue. Were there 3 separate people he got recognized by?
Yes, as from what I understand, it was 3 separate incidences for the same one.
No. Good for him.
And I was wondering, is 8th grade science the class with the sub?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that was my question.
The down
Yeah,
13.
that kind of emphasizes the need for.
I know, because then you showed it like right after the up. And then, yeah.
Yep, and all the other, each other subject matter increase. So I think
Yep.
it kind of emphasizes the need for. Science teacher.
Put it out into the universe, we need a science teacher.
Yeah.
a certified
Certified
Yeah.
science teacher.
certified science teacher.
Someone would like to apply, we would love to have you apply.
I think we've had that advertised for the past year.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
wow,
been a
that's
while.
discouraging.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I believe this year, Hinsdale, their most recent graduating class of teachers, only 3 of the entire class were science teachers.
Mm,
Oh.
And they're
Yeah,
probably
those are
moving
real
back home in Mass or
Yes.
Connecticut,
Yes.
Rhode Island, away
Yeah.
from here.
That'd be great. Goodness.
yeah, yeah, that's the underlying problem.
We have to start telling our students that's what they
Right.
want to do.
You need to be a science.
Oh, you need to be a good science teacher.
That's true.
It's a catch
It's a
22.
cycle
it is.
here.
Yeah.
Any other questions for high school report? Good. Elementary.
Oh,
school.
hold on,
Oh,
I
go
actually
ahead,
did have
sorry.
one more thing. So the SAT data is not great. Do we have any plans to kind of improve that?
The overall, that's a reflection of overall achievement and performance, and focus. Part of the job descriptions tonight and job descriptions that we're working on, for the personnel committee. That not only deals with the reorganization, to deal with the parameters of the current budget or the next year's budget. But it's also purposely designed to refocus some important positions on educational achievement and educational remediation. And also, Jeannie is going to help us with that next school year. So, she's going to have oversight, and she's going to coach the Title I people, the interventionists in terms of providing that type of help, and working with our elementary and middle school staff, on curriculum alignment, that whole curriculum piece to try and pull that together. At the high school level, it's a bit more of a challenge. I'm trying to balance what we can get out of Jeannie, in terms of focusing on what I think we need to focus on, and be cognizant of her time. She is a 0.6 position. So one suggestion I have for consideration to the board is to look at, some kind of a subject area coordinator, some type of structure that will help us with that alignment, that vertical alignment, and in the curriculum work at the high school level. But yeah, those SAT scores are, no one is happy with that.
And that test is one that does actually matter, so.
Yeah. Chris, do you have anything
Yeah,
you want to add to that?
just on the alignment piece, I will say that moving into next year, our high school teachers, our high school math teachers specifically, are each taking on an 8th grade pre-algebra course. So it should help with that alignment. Last PD day, I was in with the math PLC, and we did take a look at New Hampshire state standards and how they align, where one program stops, the other starts, where that one stops, where the next one starts. And actually that PD for the couple hours that it happened was probably one of the most beneficial ones I saw. And so did the math team. And I think that they really enjoyed it, getting a chance to sit down. So, and now that we have them assisting and teaching those other areas, we might see a better alignment, at least in the math section. So maybe we can take something from this and learn from this and try to implement it in other areas.
That's encouraging.
I make a comment?
Mhm.
From being inside the school, from my knowledge, if I had to make a guess of what the real issue is that students just don't care about the SAT in the slightest. If I had to make like a general estimate based off of anecdotal evidence, I believe well over half my class purposely bombed it just to get it done with as soon as possible.
That's surprising.
I will say, going off of Connor's assessment, not for the SAT, but for the SAT,
Yeah.
specifically with the 11th grade science, I administered that and we had several kids. The fastest one was done in 6 minutes, 52 seconds.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
just click, 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 click,
Yeah.
click.
I mean, and Gina will remember when we were first on the board, when it was the kneecaps.
Yeah.
And No Child Left Behind and Schools in Need of Improvement and all that. And we had huge problems with that, where kids just didn't care. And everybody around who's been around education, they're all shaking their heads, all of you.
Yeah, Matt said thing is
yeah.
similar.
So once
And-
I saw that, I did approach Mr. Barth. And he and I brainstormed of ways to try to get more buy-in from the students. And I said, it could just be something as simple as a field day. It's called an ice truck for the grade that does the best, but then we get into the other issues with that.
Yeah.
But you know, it's putting some sort of emphasis on it, trying to get some buy-in from the students.
So I says 34 total test takers. So what grades are taking this? You know, I mean, what grade levels
Just
are?
11th grade, right? 11th grade.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I
SAT
totally
or-
miss
or
this?
SAS?
No, the SAT, the SAT. Oh,
That'd be
that's, I
11th
know
grade.
this, okay, I'm sorry. Oh, so you meant when you were in 11th grade, okay, cause I was confused, I'm like, there's not 34 of you in the 12th grade, so how
Didn't
could?
clarify.
Okay, sorry, no, no, it's my problem, my fault, I saw 34, I didn't remember the 11th, okay, never mind then.
That's very surprising though, because that's sort of built-in incentive, like this helps you get into a good college.
But does every kid take it in the 11th grade, whether they plan to go to college or not? Well, there you go, I mean, I think that's part of it. If
It's an
it-
average, if you have any amount of zero, that's
Mhm.
gonna
Okay.
drastically change the number.
Yeah,
Well,
so
that
if there are
actually makes
kids
me
who
feel better.
absolutely know they're never, there's not in their plan,
Right.
so you're forcing me to take this, you know, yeah.
Oh, so they take it at school?
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, we used to have
Yes.
to drive over to
Exactly,
Keene.
right,
Yep,
yeah.
nope, it's
And
not-
you
it's
did
done-
not, it was early, it was
done this,
miserable.
And not everybody took it, you only
Right.
took it if you
And it
wanted
cost
to.
money, didn't it?
The
It
first one
did.
is free,
Yeah.
isn't it?
So you were not trying to do that again.
Yeah, so they did it differently.
We had more incentive.
Yes.
Why, and maybe this isn't a good question for this time, but why do we switch to everybody takes it? Like Kayla didn't graduate that long ago, Gina and I graduated longer
Thank you,
ago.
Molly.
But not from here, but you know, so why did it change? That everyone takes it whether you want college or going to college or not?
Yeah, because before everyone had to take the knee,
Oh,
remember? So what the state decided to do probably 6, 7 years ago is they decided instead of spending that money to go towards kneecap, they were gonna spend that money on providing a state SAT for all students. So the hope from the state was honestly that kids will try hard, so now they're not dishing out
yeah.
$85, $90 to take the SAT.
Okay, so
So-
the kids who want to go to college are gonna try hard because it's the SAT.
Right.
Okay.
They need it.
You know,
Yeah.
traditionally you would do it in the spring of your junior year and then the fall of your senior year, so kids get, they say, hey, at least they get one test free that I can try, you know.
Do we have the PSATs? Is that a thing?
We
Because
had
that was a
PS
thing when we
had
were in
PSATs,
school.
yeah.
Oh, so we do the PSATs and the SATs and then they can take them again in the fall if they want again.
Yes,
Okay.
PSATs are on a voluntary basis in the fall. The second
Like this.
Wednesday in October, I believe.
Okay, all right.
Well, that actually makes me feel better. That is,
Yeah.
I was like, so this is what people who are trying
Right,
to
yeah.
get into college are doing. That
Yeah,
was
okay.
concerning. That actually, thank you, Connor. That makes me feel
Yes,
better.
thank you, Colin.
Okay.
Anything else for that? We'll move on to the elementary report, Mr. Bobio.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Before I get into my report, I just wanted to say thank you to Mr. Karen for his support and guidance. In a short time, I learned a great deal from him and I really appreciated things that he had to teach me, and hopefully I can continue to learn and carry those forward in my experiences. So thank you, Kim.
So you can teach an old dog to do.
I'm 62, I'm not old. So you have the preliminary results of this SAS, and they're a little better, as the first chart shows. We still have a ways to go to even get back to where we were in 18-19, but hopefully we can continue to make some progress. And then we also have the map results for the K-2 kids, and that's broken up like quartiles every fifth. So I would say they're promising. Overall, we're very close to the national average, if not above the national average. And of course, averages are always dangerous, as we just talked about with the SAT. So what we really need to do is, with all our students, those students 50% or so that are substantially below proficient, as we've talked before, personalization is we have to figure out how to meet their needs better and keep working at that. But we have a really strong staff, I think, that's dedicated to that, and hopefully we'll be able to see some better results, or continued improvement, I should say, because we are seeing better results.
Yeah,
Any questions?
they're much more encouraging. My only thing was, again, science.
Science, yeah.
That kind of popped out. Everything else is looking very promising, but science again is an issue. So I think we should probably keep that in mind with future decisions and curriculum alignment and.
So I had a question, not about the testing, but about the enrollments in the different grade levels. Just because I know we talked about, back and forth during budget and how many we're gonna be in each grade. So how many classrooms are like in each? Is it three?
So I'm still trying to get the primary grades hardest. There's 3 in each. 3 classrooms,
Of the primaries.
K to 3. So they're 10 to largest, like 14 per classroom. When you get to grade 3, and then there's 2 each in grade 4 and 5.
So we're like, 10, 10, 10, 10, 20, and almost 20. And then when it goes, each, and then when they go to 6th grade, we break them up into 3 classes again. I mean, that's how it was this year, at least.
Yes, as of right now, or this year's practice, yes, there's divided typically up into 3 sections.
Okay.
So depending on what it is.
I think this year's class is a little bit higher numbers though, isn't it?
It is, I think it's.
In 6th grade?
Yeah.
But it's been 3,
Yeah.
it's been 3 for a long time. They've been going from 2 5th grades to, well, I mean, Megan was here, but since, for.
Right,
we
it
had
was 3, yeah.
For like that 1 year, but usually it's, 2 to 3. And
Yeah,
4th grade,
56.
4th grade goes back and forth.
56 is a lot bigger than these numbers, so.
Yeah, we
Okay.
had I wouldn't say an issue earlier this year. But we had to create another section of one of the VEX courses. Because it was
yeah.
only divided up into 2. If you remember
And
the
there
fall.
wasn't the room in
It
the
was
physical
so
room
many
in the
kids.
room.
Almost 30 is.
Well, and
Too
it's-
many.
And it was, and there's like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
kids
there was no
that
room
in
to
them.
stand.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
And that's a rowdy grade.
Well, I want to say thank you to the VFW for hosting the dinner for the 5th graders. That was nice.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yes.
And is the Wednesday, June 21st PTA recognition, is that the 5th grade
Yes.
recognition?
So the name change, it's just a name change or something? Or we used to call
Or
it
is it
5th grade
just-
recognition.
Right?
Yeah, step up. Is that-
Step up.
Didn't we used to call it step up?
Step
I think a
up.
long time ago, no? I think
grade
it's always
step
been
up.
5th grade recognition since I used to hand out the stuff, so, but. yeah. Some other schools call it step up though. I know.
Yeah.
I thought when we were doing it, April, it was step up.
Yeah.
It wasn't that
step
long
up.
ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that. Doesn't feel that long ago anyway.
I know, that's true. I guess Kylie is going into 11th grade, so maybe it was.
Scary, yeah, who knows? Anything else for Mr. Bogio? All right, and we have technology report.
Yep, Madam Chair, you have my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Before any questions, I just want to make a comment about a request you made last month about one of the graphs and the order of the graphs.
Mhm.
There was no easy way to change it with how I developed the graph. Power BI just wasn't allowing me to change it yet.
Mhm.
I have to revamp that whole part of the dashboard anyways to incorporate changes that were being made to the logs anyways to highlight level 1, 2, and 3 types of behaviors this summer. So at that time, I'll work on reordering those. So hopefully for the August meeting, there'll be old data at that time that you can look back on, but
Yeah.
then for the start of the new school year, it'll be in the right order and with the new numbering system.
Thank you
Yep.
for that. Looks like you'll be busy during the summer.
Yep.
A lot of stuff.
That's
Like
pretty
he's
cool.
not already.
I
busy
know,
this
right?
summer. I think he lives here, right?
For most of it. Nobody will bother him.
Yeah, no,
with
no
help
new
tickets.
help desk.
Thank you, Justin.
Yep.
Anybody have anything for him? All right. So we have the ELA curriculum adoption next. You're out. Yes.
I think that's you, Gene.
Yes.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I'm Jeannie Sturgis, curriculum coordinator for Hinsdale School District. I'm here to just kind of update you, but primarily, I'm here on behalf of the ELA Curriculum Adoption Committee, that is a K-8 committee that comprised faculty, administration, and myself. Along with all of the faculty who participated in the curriculum adoption process, we would like to recommend to you tonight to adopt the SAVAS ELA curriculum programs for K-8. They have a program, you could go ahead and do the next one. Yeah, so the two curricula that we'd be looking at would be the MyView literacy curriculum at K-5 and the My Perspectives curriculum at 6-8. The committee decided via consensus at both grade spans to adopt the SAVAS programs. Next slide. So I know I went into more depth on this the last time, but just to recap, the process that we used over the last either 3 years or 6 months, depending on I know you look was really inclusive and very data informed. We conducted extensive research on a number of top rated programs. We evaluated those collaboratively with the input of all faculty. We narrowed it down to 2 pilot programs that at the elementary school, 17 out of the 19 teachers piloted, and at the middle school, all 3 of the ELA teachers piloted. We conducted both teacher and student surveys, and we had 100% teacher feedback on that, and we have above 98% student feedback. We also had a focus group among all of the piloting teachers, debriefing the pilots, and we collected that as qualitative data. So we had a really nice mix of both qualitative and quantitative data. The committee reviewed that data for about a week, and then we met yesterday to share our findings from it and made a determination that SAVAS really came out on top. And the next slide, I'll just share a little bit more about the findings. So from a teacher perspective, SAVAS was rated consistently high on all of the survey questions, or most of the survey questions, but also from in the focus group feedback. So some of the kind of common themes there is that they found SAVAS programs to be user-friendly from both the student and the teacher materials. There was ongoing embedded assessment practices that people liked. They thought the writing component was strong. They thought the word work component, particularly at grades 3, 5, and 6, 8 were really strong. Not that it wasn't strong at the elementary grades, but that was a different focus on the foundational skills. And that they found the texts and topics of the units to be engaging. And then in the student survey, we asked, it was really great looking at the kindergarten qualitative. Sure. But the themes that we saw in that data is that they enjoyed the projects. They found the reading to be interesting, the text to be interesting. They thought the materials were easy to access. We tested out both the print and online resources, and they enjoyed the topics and the themes. Just one point of the middle school, the teachers were struck by how specific the students were about what they had learned, because we asked the students to say what they learned, and they were really pleasantly surprised with how well the students could articulate kind of key ideas, like big ideas, not just topics. So that was really nice to see. This is really, I'm not gonna go through these slides, this just kind of reiterates what I presented at the last meeting, but just to emphasize the collaborative and inclusive approach to the process with a lot of teacher leadership, which couldn't have been done without. And it really built on some of the work that was done in the 2020 curriculum process. We used ed reports to guide us and making sure that we were using best practices for the process. And we also developed a set of local priorities, both that built on the earlier work, but that was then also reviewed as part of this process. And we used all our existing structures for the staff meetings, the PLC meetings, the administrator meetings, and then we also added in the additional structure of the curriculum adoption committee that met regularly 2-3 times a month. And then I just wanted to have this here for your reference, but this is all information that I shared in the last meeting. So really, our hope is that we can move forward with adoption of the SAVAS curriculum. We're ready.
Thanks for all your work on that, along with everybody else that was involved.
Yeah, and a huge thank you to all the teachers introducing 2 separate curriculums at the end of the year.
Right?
Fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's impressive.
So do you need something from us in order
I was gonna say, I think
to
we have
adopt
to
this,
vote, right?
basically?
Yeah, we have to vote.
We have a motion. So I'll make a motion to adopt the SAVAS learning curriculum for the K through 8.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Questions for her? Anything?
No, I'm
Although-
surprised we got K through 8 because it was originally looking like middle school was gonna go with the other program.
Benefit of using a data informed process.
Yeah.
And the 2 teachers who had piloted looked at the pilot data. They realized that both from there was no clear winner from either the student or the teacher survey results or from their discussions in the debrief. And so they felt that they wanted to listen in on the K-5 conversation and see, they really felt that the K-8 coherence could really kind of tip the scales for them. And there was, I think the conversation that happened at the K-5 meeting just kind of reinforced to them that, we might have a value added situation if we did K-8, and so that's what they went at.
Nice.
I think that's awesome.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Thank you again for all the work. Next we have a donation from Elite Vinyl. Who's talking on that?
Do we have anything?
I can speak to that.
Thank you.
So Elite Vinyl has offered us a $5,000 vinyl lettering machine that he spoke with me at the mentor dinner. He spoke with Peter Hughes. He would like to donate this directly to the school along with all the vinyl that goes with it. So if we had anything that needed to be lettered, he feels like he has enough vinyl to support us for at least 2.5 years. Because I was worried about sustainability of it, but he said, and if you ran out in 2.5 years, he's sure he would have more. So it's quite a generous offer. It's not a big machine. We feel like it could be housed in Mr. Benson's room, who has graciously offered to and excitedly offered to take it and also learn the software that goes with it. So Elite Vinyl is going to come and do some training if it's approved, train a few teachers on it. And we'd be able to use it for many, many different things. So we're looking for approval to accept that donation.
Yeah, so any discussion, any questions about it or anything?
As long as they got it handled.
Yeah, sounds great. So we need a motion to accept the donation.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Kendra. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. School has a Thank you. Thank Lee Vinyl.
Yeah, huge thank you.
Yeah, that's huge. And then, the BA search committee. I know that we're gonna be talking in non-public. And then having to approve it.
We
In
already
public. Yeah, we
did
did.
them. It's
Oh, that's the
switching to
BA.
our-
I'm
yeah,
sorry, I'm
that's
getting
okay.
a lot going on. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So we've
Remember.
approved the BA search committee.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll get it together, Mitch.
Have they, well,
And we
I don't think they started meeting. We just.
No.
There's never mind.
No.
Wait, have they met yet? It just happened.
No, who would set the first meeting for that?
Well, I think
The
him and
superintendent,
Patty
right?
are co-chairs, right? Was that it?
Uh-huh.
So it would be them.
Yeah, I can,
I think that's what we decided, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There was.
yeah. So I think at least that's how it would before, Wayne and Patty. I
Right,
think were
right.
co-chairs.
Yeah.
On the last one. And they said the first one and
Right.
yeah.
So we should get something on the books for that, so we can get that going.
I can let them know, I get that out there.
Okay. And Maria, the people who were accepted on to have been notified at this point?
Yeah.
Okay. So the tuition exploratory committee, we'll be talking about non-public. And then coming out to accept it as a whole afterwards. Does anybody, there's nothing else to talk about for that, right? Staff climate survey. This was pretty big,
Yeah.
lots of information. Lots of areas that I see we need to improve on. And
was
lots
gonna
of
say,
areas that we're doing good in too.
How did you want to, it's just, there's a lot. So
Yeah.
how do we want to even try and?
Go through it, I know.
I just wanted to make a comment, it was probably from one thing Kim said during his report, that, there were some good things and there were some
Yeah.
disturbing things, and I think, like, I'm not using his word, that's disturbing, I don't disagree with it, I'm just using your word as disturbing, concerning probably is a
Maybe
better word.
concerning,
It's a better word,
yeah.
not that disturbing is inaccurate, but, concerning, a lot of it is stuff that the board has been talking about in public and in non-public with the administration for quite a while, and as well as Sean and I, as chair and vice chair, met with Kim on his, not even really his first day. It was still the holiday, January 2nd. School started the next day, and I think you'll agree, a lot of the issues were things Sean and I raised as concerns. So, yeah, we do need a lot of work, because Kim's been here 6 months. That was more than 6 months ago. We've been talking about it for, quite a while, some of the just concerning pieces in here. So, yeah.
I think the key, we've done how many surveys?
More than like in my 15
Yeah,
years on the
we've done a
board.
lot. So
Yeah.
we've done a lot of surveys.
Yeah.
And, it's all good data, and we spent a significant amount of effort with the teacher leadership team in the last, 6 months, and doing the work with them around the SWOT analysis. So, I would, easy for me to say, but what I would suggest is you put together, a team, an inclusive team to review and synthesize all of that information, the information from the SWOT analysis and the information from the various surveys. And, that will be the basis for your goals, for the next, 5 years, I would say. You can prioritize them, but, to try to work on, I don't know how many items there are on this survey, like over 50. Plus the information from the student surveys. But, from my recollection, there are some places where that information converges. And I know by talking with, I keep on looking over here, but I know that talking with the teacher leadership team, there's some definite convergence of information. We just have to have a group that'll put that together and then present it to the board and say, this is what I think we need to work on, not necessarily goals, but action statements. And I would use that as my mantra, you know, for the next few years. Try to, instead of doing a shotgun approach, you know, try to be more of a laser focused approach on some major concepts. I mean, one of the items that I was concerned about was the opportunity for students to participate in decision-making
Mhm.
and the opportunity for staff,
Yep, I have those two.
you know, and, you know, we have to provide those a vehicle for that to happen. You know, otherwise we're doing it to them,
Right.
not doing it with them. That's been my frustration over the last 6 months is, you know, do we have enough time to do that? And that's where my suggestion about looking at professional development, you know, and using those days to get this work done, because we have to have time to talk and communicate and collaborate. And, you know, one of the things I heard from the teacher leadership group is that we're small enough to be able to talk to each other. But people are locked away in their classrooms.
Yeah.
They're doing their work. You know that happens.
Yep.
You
I know, I never saw Don.
So we have to find,
Yeah.
build in that time into the academic year when we can do that. I believe that that'll make a whole lot of difference moving forward. It'll make, you know, people will feel better about being here. And you'll also get good stuff done, you know, during that time, if you're focused. So what was the question?
I don't think there was.
It wasn't really a
Yeah, just
question.
what do we do with all
Right,
of
yes.
this? And I think the work Karen will be doing with
Yes.
the portrait, hopefully that will.
But also
Help.
we could break these into pieces and like,
categorize
there's a
and-
piece, right, that we can bring back to behavioral support.
Right,
There's like a big chunk.
Yeah, yeah.
that
right.
We can work on and just,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, because they
divide it
are
up to
in
those
categories.
yeah, the
Yeah.
committees.
Yeah, committees. They can be broken up
They're
into
all
committees.
Yes.
Right.
Right, yeah, we,
Yeah.
the communities we already have.
Yeah, we can. parse
Well,
them out.
when this idea first came up in the late fall, early winter, you know, it kind of was more of like a handful of focus questions about climate and safety and whatever. So when I saw and heard that it was this like 70 whatever, I was like, what? And for the most part, there are chunks, I think, with some of the pieces that kind of don't apply to us as much, you know what I mean? But overall, I, you know, I'll admit when I changed my mind, and I changed my mind from what our initial thought was that we kind of wanted to see. So I think there's a lot of valuable stuff in here. So I'm glad it was broader than what we initially conceived.
Breaks it.
Yeah. But yeah, you hear 70 whatever foot applies. What? You guys are at it. This is like a whole PD day just to answer this.
I know, looking at the time, at the average time, I think it was like 20 minutes. I was like, for a
Yeah.
survey,
And then-
usually they're like 3.
I know your eyes start to glaze over
Yeah.
partway through, yeah.
So was this sent out to just teachers or actual staff?
Question.
Yeah, I can answer for that. Everybody in the Karen emailed it out the district wide.
Okay.
Okay,
I did it. I believe it went to guidance as well.
Paras?
The only thing that really came up that we had talked about was there's some things that are applicable to Joe's building.
Right.
Some things that are applicable to ours. That was the only divide that we wish we could have saw was a middle high school
That's right. I
one
remember
and
that.
a elementary one. So
because that was my other questions, like, do we know how many
how many
of these
elementary
people
schools-
were elementary and high school?
Was there a question of,
I was
in
thinking this
previous surveys we've done, it would be, what's your building? You know what I mean? So at least we had it separated by buildings, like, and they were different, they were survey monkeys and whatever, but,
Yeah,
so we don't know.
This was just one survey I think put out by the DOE. We just
Oh, okay.
okay.
I mean, you can kind of get a guess, like the one where it's like strongly disagree that there's any kind of nicotine, well, that's probably the elementary school.
Yeah.
They answered all that, you know, and like, so most, I would
Oh,
hope.
that's true. That probably skewed
Yeah,
those a
right,
little bit.
yeah.
I was actually I have a question mark because I was like, really? It's not a problem?
Yeah,
So
but
I was kind of
so
surprised.
there should have been more NAs, like some of them should have had a lot more
They didn't
NAs.
give that. They
Yeah,
only gave the
yeah.
options.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, see, I started, I was
That
like,
was
wow,
what I was wondering.
it's surprisingly
There was a
good.
couple.
Elementary.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Yeah.
So there definitely needs to be a deeper dive into all this information.
Yeah.
Start tomorrow.
What I would
Oh, yeah, that was.
what I would wish, is that if we could put a group together this summer. I mean, there'll be an expense to that, because, if we want teachers and staff
Yeah, you gotta pay.
to spend some time, have to do like a hourly rate or a stipend.
Yeah, it's like the $25 an hour, I think is what they
Okay.
get, right? 20, 25. Oh, good, you've done a bunch of them in the summer, sorry. Oh, never
Like, I
mind.
just show up, I don't know what I'm doing.
Never mind the woman off the camera. I know it. I pay no attention, that's right.
But that's something that I think, the board should think about, keep on your radar screen. Because the sooner we can get started on this, the better.
Mhm.
And I'll have another recommendation for some work as well, so. Keep that in mind too.
Just want to keep us busy all the time, don't you?
No, Kim's like, I'm leaving,
Yeah,
so I
right.
have a list.
Yeah, remember, so you like, there's 400 and whatever, or $1,000 less to spend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So any chance we can do this work in the next 2 weeks?
I doubt it. Seems like a lot of work for 2 weeks.
I did want to ask, we don't have DARE at the elementary school.
And we don't have a
anymore,
DARE
do we?
officer right
Okay,
now,
we don't have a
right?
DARE.
Yeah.
So I think that probably is a problem at both schools, that prevention and.
Right.
So that's something to think about too.
Did we have it, like, just 'cause I can't remember it now, last year, it was just this year?
No, we didn't have it last year either.
Last year either? Okay.
No, Aubrey
Okay.
didn't.
Okay, I couldn't remember when it ended.
Have we had it since COVID? I don't think we've had it.
Oh, maybe
had it
COVID
since
ended
COVID,
it.
right?
Yeah, I bet you COVID. ended.
Yeah. Not sure when Officer Gallagher stopped, it might have,
Right.
it was 2020.
I was gonna say we
That's what I
would have
was
been
thinking.
remote
Then
at
he
that
got
time
his-
anyways,
He
because
got
it's
his
in the spring.
certification lapse.
So it would have been probably 2019.
Yeah,
Would have been the last one.
yeah. Because we weren't in person at that point. So
Right.
yeah, 2019. So that's definitely something to think about too.
Mhm. Anything else on the survey from anybody? All right, engagement letter from the auditors. My understanding of this is just a letter to get them to do the audit for this year.
Yes, this is just the standard engagement letter that we get from them every year, and you signed this at our last meeting.
Mhm.
It's just in here for the board to be aware of, and if you have any questions, but I think they're coming in sometime in September.
I don't see it on the agenda unless I'm looking at it wrong, but we have the letter of intent
Oh, the insurances.
for
general
insurances, thank you,
Yeah,
is also in here. For
Is that
the,
part
for
of
the
it?
grants and whatnot,
yeah, this
that we'll
is,
do our part to do them right.
Yes.
and when we sign off on that, we have to sign off that, is aware of it and has seen it.
Right, so the next thing. Anybody have any questions on those?
And it needs to be reflected in the minutes that the board has seen it. And
We don't need to make a motion for it, though, we just.
We're not really accepting it, right?
no, I don't think so. It's already signed it.
Yeah.
It has to be reflected in the minutes that.
It was presented.
Presented to the board.
Afterwards, yeah.
Okay. I think my board packets out of tuition rate.
We voted on that on the 24th, if it's just to make
Yeah.
it, because that was a. Yeah, we did.
I don't have
I
it.
went back and
That's
looked
why I
at
was
my-
wondering.
Yeah, I went
Yeah.
back and looked at my minutes to make sure, 'cause I'm like, didn't we do this?
Yeah.
So we
I thought we
didn't
had
do this.
to.
But it wasn't like, it was one of the meetings where after, something was a work session, so. I don't know if it was, if it was just on it, to get it on the,
Yeah, it was in
On the
the
thing.
24th, I think.
Yeah.
in the meeting.
Library dedication update. So that is July.
this is the 21st.
July 21st at 11 o'clock. At the library will be the dedication of Public's welcome. Anybody who would like to show up is welcome. Doris's family will be there.
And there's gonna be a lot of them. I talked to
Yeah.
Melissa, like every Smith. From far and wide, it sounds like is gonna be here.
That'll be cool.
Yeah, so they're having like a family thing at Smokies afterwards, so it's gonna be, yeah. And Allison and Heather coming up from Texas.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and John and Judy coming up from Texas for it too. Oh, yeah, and then other Smiths I don't know, they're coming from other places.
Lots of Smiths.
Lots of Smiths. So it's gonna be great.
That'll be nice.
I was talking to Melissa and she's gonna be here to present the Doris B. Smith Scholarship class day. And Maria, I know you're super busy, but with Melissa here and April are gonna be here to give out the New Hampshire Scholars. If we could steal you like for half an hour, Melissa just wants to kind of touch base, if that's possible, like on Friday, after class day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any questions about that or any comments, anything? All right, so the handbook discussion. Kind of briefly touched on it in
Okay.
your report.
Yep. I added a student handbook to my superintendent's report, and it's not in yours, it's in a new one that I just did 2 hours ago.
No, I think that Maria printed that out for us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I revised it again
Yeah.
after that.
Oh. Third
revision.
revision.
I know, I was like, it's not.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Really, was it?
So, and that, again, that's just me being, anal about stuff, so, as you know, Drummer Woodsum said they would, do this review and have it done by May. And they must have been buried this year.
Mhm.
So I got the written recommendations this afternoon from Megan Glenn at Drummer Woodsum. And she has some suggested edits in that job description, in that handbook, student handbook. She did say that it's, and I quote, not bad as it is. All right, so that's not bad. She does recommend a significant overhaul of the discipline section in both the elementary and secondary handbooks.
And that's why we initially brought it up in December, so that's good, that's validation.
That's validation. I had hoped that she would have that for me.
Oh, she recommended it, but she doesn't have,
Overhaul it, but what direction?
So she said, I assume you want me to do that. I said, yes.
like, we're missing lots of stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
Basically, it's restructuring the student discipline section of the handbook. And into three major categories: suspension, long-term suspension, and expulsion, and having behaviors that qualify for each offense. As examples, to the maximum extent that we can. There should be a limited description of student due process. We need to strengthen what we have in the handbook around bullying. Since that's a big issue with districts around the country. We should include a reference to our Title IX policy. Who those reports should be made to. And strengthening our FERPA notice. So I sent a message back to Megan to say, yes, we want that done, and we need it ASAP. So, I expect that it won't take too long for her to do that. So again, here comes the summer work. What I would like to propose is that if, we could do it with the same process with the administrative assistants that work on the student handbook and the administrators who work on the student handbook. What I would like to propose is that if possible, let's include a small team of teachers in there just to have it be more inclusive and they could be involved in the actual writing of that and then it come to the board. I was gonna say July, but I guess we'll do August.
And I think,
Student too would be good, but I guess over the summer, that's.
I don't think it's at this level, I don't agree that students should be
Really?
involved. No, not, I mean, unless it's our board member, which I'm gonna, I wanted to ask that during the principal report. We should have elected a student board member in the spring. I went back and listened to the a meeting from last year so that they're set to go in August. That's part of the policy, which I don't think you probably did, huh?
Well, step ahead. There are two names. I brought I went up to the students who
Sorry,
I thought would work well. They agreed, and now it's just up to the principal to decide which one, but he has the names.
Oh, so it's not voted on, like you were voted on, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
you
voted
had
on.
to like give a speech and everything.
Right.
That's right.
So I gave him both names. I'm not sure how that whole process is gonna work out. I
Yeah.
forgot about the vote.
Yeah,
Um,
that's been a wild year.
but one is in high school, the other one will be in high school.
Okay.
So I think they're both awesome.
So I think
candidates.
that might be the student to involve, the student
Yeah.
board, but that would be the way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I first proposed this, and it needed to be looked at, because of a lot of stuff that was going on this fall, that we were first starting before we got Drummond Woodson into it, to have, a board member in it, so I think we need to have a board member involved, at some point, I don't know, and I think that would be up to, we could decide that later, see what the incoming interim superintendent, what ideas that they have too on it, So maybe that's something in July to decide and then meet in August. And it fits in a lot with policy, so I mean, I would volunteer to do that since I'm a policy rep. A lot of things you said there, where she said needs to be in the handbook, we do have policies, but it's probably not referenced in the handbook. And it's not.
We have
crossed or beefed up, yeah.
our policies. What we should probably have in the handbook are reference to policies.
Like we do in the student, like not the code of in the code of conduct, you mean?
Yeah.
Because we do reference a lot of policies in the student handbook.
Yeah,
We list them and we reference them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if we need to include them all,
no, oh gosh, no, not all. of them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but have a link to our website
Yeah,
where they can view the policies.
Yeah, is that in the handbook? Is there a link or like something that lets parents know where?
Yeah, I believe so. And in the student handbook, there's a section with applicable policies like bullying, lunch stuff, dress code. You know what I mean? Those are, I believe, actually in the handbook. There's a
Right.
section where they're actually, the
Right,
policies
yeah.
themselves are in the handbook.
Right.
But
But
it doesn't,
for
I
the
believe, say
reference.
the policy is available on HHD.
Well, if they can't find it, Mr. Ponce can.
Oh, I can tell.
You are,
where to go.
I know you can. You're so good at that.
Yeah.
I like it.
But yeah, on some of those policies, it does reference like ABC, and then
Mhm.
if it's applicable, it is bottom of the hand.
Yeah.
We could also put like, ask Mr. Ponce.
You can- you can-
Alright, any questions?
Our
Any
policy
questions?
pro.
Yeah.
Okay, that's handbook. I hope to have it done, completely done, but
What are you gonna do? All right, so next we have job descriptions. This is our first reading of these, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
good. Because I need more time to digest
I
it, so
do.
I'm glad it's the first reading.
yeah, so there are four job descriptions, the BA, Director of Personalized Learning and Professional Development, Curriculum. Looks like the exact title of it, Curriculum Coordinator and Administrative Assistant, for Curriculum, HR, and Business. And again, those have been modified to aid in our reorganization of the SAU office, with the departure of our HR manager. And also to improve our focus on student learning and teaching and learning. And some of the great things that Hinsdale is famous for, like the ELO program. So kind of reinvigorate that as well. So the business administrator, you can take your time and read through it. But the major change is doing the HR functions. Adding that piece to the business administrator who's being responsible for that, having oversight of that area, and then having the administrative assistant position sort of doing the legwork, on that piece. And I've met with all of the involved parties to try and, coordinate these job descriptions.
We've taken out the certification for that too also.
Yeah, I think we already voted on that,
Yeah.
taking out the cert, and I
Oh,
think,
yeah.
yeah, that's
It's no
already
longer required.
been voted on.
Has it?
Did we
Yes.
vote on it? I
It-
thought we were just informed it was no longer required.
No, I'm almost positive, and I don't have it because I forgot to bring it and give it to Maria. The night that we met after a superintendent interview, where we got to accept Jody's resignation, I believe we voted on taking the cert out then because we were talking about the committee and how it's not needed. I can double check because I have the sealed minutes. I just forgot to bring them in because I took the minutes, but I'm almost sure we voted that night.
Yeah. That is crossed out.
To get it done.
Yeah, I
Because we
didn't
were
think
gonna
we-
jump one right away, having to do the committee, and we wanted that out of the job description before we started with the committee. Then Jody, you weren't here.
No, I
for
wasn't,
that.
I
Yeah,
wasn't,
yeah,
but
so-
that's great, because that's a saving, that's a cost savings.
Yeah.
That's low hanging fruit. so-
Yeah, because even on, in your report, where you said you recommend we do it, I made a note, I said already done. But it was that night, because we wanted to get that done before we started, so we could post the job description without it.
And so what I quoted in my board report came from an internal memo from NHRS. Today I received the NHRS announcement with the same language, so it is official. That is their position now.
Mhm.
So, I don't disagree.
The superintendent's have to show that.
Yeah.
This week.
Yes. This week.
No, I mean, the Board of, the Department of Education stance is that they just shouldn't be in the business of certifying VAs, so.
That kinda makes sense.
No, that doesn't make any, no.
No?
No, it doesn't,
No,
it's,
no.
it's scary.
Yeah. Cause it's slippery slope, but also it doesn't make sense on its face, but then it's also slippery slope.
Right.
So then shouldn't somebody else be doing it then if they didn't feel qualified?
So, that's a really good point.
Cause I
And
could see that stance,
that's a
like,
really
we
good
don't know
point,
what we're
and
doing.
So NASPO is working with the DOE and they're coming up potentially with an alternative certification through NASPO. And they still have all the certification classes available, and they're still gonna be doing all the training at, like, every single monthly NASPO meeting involves training that leads towards a certification, which members with and without the certification take part in. It's an intricate job, it's a very, very complex job, and I think you could do it for 4 or 5 years and still not. Yeah, and a little bit of.
Joe probably knows how to do it. You're good at math.
It's true, I've seen it.
No.
So we need a motion to accept the group as a first reading. Yes,
I was gonna say, are we doing them as a group together?
unless you feel like they need to be separated, that we can, I mean, I think if there's nothing.
I mean, we can talk about it separately if you want, but we can accept them.
Mhm.
Whichever way, I'm good at making the motion for whatever.
Yeah, altogether, it's fine if everyone's good with it.
It's just the first reading, so.
Still
it's
haven't
not
totally
finalized.
digested some of the differences. I need to
Yeah.
like really
Yeah.
focus
Yeah.
on what was in there and now what's in there.
Right, yeah. Okay, so Holly has made a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. So we have a reaffirmation of EBA, DAB, sorry, DFA, DHAB. So these are policies that we do every year that we just go over and reaffirm their rightness.
Or that we have them.
That we have them, yes.
They're required by law.
So you're right, yeah. Thank you. We can do these as a group too, yes?
Yeah. I make a motion that we accept this group of policies, reaffirm this group of policies.
You gonna say? 'em?
No. The group.
See, Kayla remembers.
I know Sean used to list them all.
Right.
And this is funny, as a quick aside, I was watching some old meetings today to cross-reference a few things for tonight. And there was a meeting where one of Connor's first meetings, I think, because I said a group and Sean was harassing me about.
No, he used to list them all and I was like, you're making.
Well, that's what happened, this predates you, Wayne Tennant used to make fun of me when I would say the letter, so I said, no, you know what, this is a teachable moment for Connor, that just because I was made fun of by a board member 12 years ago, does not mean that we shouldn't do that, and so then I started listing them, but I think it only lasted that meeting. But it was just really funny that just today I was watching it, and Sean listed them all out.
He always did, and I was like, that is so many letters.
Yeah.
There's a lot of letters.
Yes, it's crazy.
The only thing I had for this was the EHAB. It says that the under data governance plan, that shall update the data governance plan for presentation to the board no later than June 30th of each year. I don't know if we've ever, I can't remember last year getting the data governance plan.
I remember like when Deb first did it, it was a huge thing.
Yeah,
Right.
which
But
wasn't that
That was
long
like
ago.
2019, it
Yeah.
says.
So it could just updated every year by June 30th. Did we do it last year? Did
I
they
don't
do
remember
it?
doing it last year. Or seeing one last year, so that's why I brought
I
it up.
say there have been no changes to it.
Yeah.
So what has been
Yeah,
presented.
so what
and
does that
approved.
mean, updating?
Gonna
it?
say,
There's no
so that should be
changes.
your loophole. If there's no changes.
Yeah.
It says it to be presented to the board no later than June. Oh,
So you
that's
can
the June.
Present it with no changes.
So that's why we're gonna have a special meeting. Next 2.5 weeks.
Right, yeah.
Meeting in June.
I think this is just so that this wording needs to be presented.
And at that meeting, you can bring back the Superman cave.
Right, yeah.
No, I'm only joking, that's your scheme. But-
It's hanging in my closet,
Yeah.
in case I ever sneak in there and change.
I wanted to bring it up because it's in the policy, so
Yeah.
just,
Right,
you
no,
know.
that's a good
Good
point.
point.
I mean.
Should it be as needed or as things are
It's like
changed?
I think,
But this is by
It
law.
has to be
right.
Yeah, we can't change this one.
Yeah,
I think you can present it with no changes. It
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
needs to be
that's fine.
presented.
right.
How thick is it? It's pretty thick, right?
It's
Pretty
a
big.
It's a big,
It's a
yeah,
big-
so
It's a lot of
remember, it's
paper.
a lot of
I
paper to waste.
Yes.
Maybe you can email it
Can you
to them,
send
we
it
can email it,
electronically?
Sure,
yeah.
I can do that,
Yeah.
and before June 30th.
And then we'll have our,
It's better
we'll be
presented and-
covered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good, yeah.
Yep.
That would be good, that's all.
Yeah, because I actually read them.
No, that's good.
All right. So do we have a motion to accept this group?
I made a motion to
Okay.
accept to reaffirm.
Reaffirm, yes.
Yes, I did make.
Do
that
we have a
motion.
second?
I'll second.
Any more discussion about them? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Reaffirmed. First policy reading for JFAP. Says admission of tuition in non-residential students.
I'll make a motion to accept JFAB.
Do you
as the
even
first
have it?
reading.
I'll second.
Oh, yeah, we do. Right there. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. So moved. And then we have the final reading for the JICJ, electronic communication devices.
I'll make a motion to prevent its final reading.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
You'll see, thank you, Maria, put in, that sentence in all three sections about electronic communications, maybe used in a responsible, ethical, legal manner on transportation. So that was the piece that was,
Yes, missing.
just missing from last
It
time.
was unclear last.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
How we intended it,
Right,
did
yeah.
not translate over,
Yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
But now I think hopefully it's pretty clear.
So all those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Any opposed? So. We're up to you, Connor.
So, no one presented me any formal proposals or such. Recently, it's just been people dreading and doing finals and seniors dreading and excited for graduation. But I do believe this is my last board meeting,
Yes, it is.
right?
It is.
unless you want to come in July.
July.
I mean, John's not here. He's usually the one telling you you have to stay forever.
Oh, it would be good training for my replacement, but
Mhm.
I am bringing this book back for my replacement.
Oh, cool. thank you.
Perfect.
You're so responsible.
Yeah, so Maria can, if you can hang on to it, Maria, do you think? Yeah, so sure. Great.
Okay.
No, that's good because I believe they're not making those or providing those anymore because we're not, or the NSBA, well, the NSBA is, NSBA is not gonna be providing anyway, but we're also moved away from the NSBA. Being part of COSBA, so I think, so that's helpful because I don't know how easily we can get another one. So,
Perfect.
I'd just like to say thank you for all you've done for the board this year. It's been greatly appreciated and invaluable.
yes, thank you.
Thank you all for listening to me.
Thanks, Connor.
Thank you, Connie.
So. Next is to set a meeting for August. Apparently can't meet in July.
We don't.
Right,
No.
July.
And in August, we usually move it to as close to the start of school. Like it used to be the second Wednesday, we usually.
Are we
move it.
going to need, are we gonna need to meet because of the handbook before then, though? I mean,
Oh.
we're gonna need to meet.
No,
I'm
we're
just
gonna-
guessing.
Okay.
Generally, we don't have July.
No, generally we don't,
So
I know.
Special July meetings.
Yeah.
I go to them under project.
Sean,
Have
Sean,
pictures of it.
Right.
Sean used,
August 1st.
yes, Sean,
There we go.
Sean,
That's what I was thinking.
Sean always used to make the big sandwich. I don't know if he's still
Oh,
on.
Sean. big
Sean,
sandwich.
maybe
Sean.
Sean. can
I
make
keep
the big-
hearing about this mythical creature.
I know, right? I've never seen it.
He's not- he's not muting, but-
Then he's not going to. He's probably sitting there grumping at you now.
I know, right? No.
Will made for a big sandwich. No big
So I
sandwich
feel
now
like
that I'm
because they need to get the handbook
What
out,
did you say, Sean?
we'll need, we'll
No
have,
big sandwich.
really,
What did you say?
Oh,
No big
Sean's talking
sandwich
to
now
us.
that he's.
will the
off
work
board.
be done with
That Kayla is
at the
100% correct.
beginning of July? Or like, what's your thought process on the timeline for that?
I thought well, I'm speaking for Chris, basically.
Mm,
So I said Chris and Maria.
Yeah, well, I can say that, I look at the student handbook going into the summer, that's one of the things that I like to do. And try to make revisions or corrections and, small things from there. But as far as updating it, Erica and I know that the other administrative assistants go through it as well.
mhm.
So if we're given kind of direction and some of those items that you were listing off, which I thought were all fantastic, that could be something I don't mind starting to work on. But at least from the middle high school perspective.
Yeah.
I don't want to make changes to Joe and
Mhm.
get it wrong. Yeah, Joe, sorry for the next year.
Well, two separate sections.
Yeah.
Right,
Yep.
Because there's a handbook and there's the code of conduct. And the
right.
code of conduct is in the handbook, right? Okay, because we have a policy where we're supposed to approve the code of conduct yearly and approve the handbook, like both two things, which we've always done the handbook. and we've been more lax on the code of conduct. I went back through a lot of minutes when this first came up, so.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really know, but
Yeah.
I know that you have to review or approve the code of conduct.
We have to do both, and same with the handbook yearly. And that's what they're doing, both of them, right? Like, in
Yes,
conjunction,
that's-
yes, I just wanna make sure I had
Yeah.
it right, yeah.
The most important piece is done from my perspective, but Megan, I'm sure can get that quickly. So I would say meeting and kind of revising it during July.
Yep.
And have it ready for early August. Or maybe a meeting during the first week in August, and then that will give you time to review it and then approve it hopefully. And
Does
then
that
you
give
can
you enough
publish it.
time to get it out?
Is that enough time to
Two?
get it out? Yes, Maria.
Well, they don't mail it anymore.
did it. I'm not sure, but I think that's when we did it last year, but I don't know if it was the first week of August.
We tried to wrap it up, I think, right around the last week of July, if I remember right.
Okay.
I think that's when the administrative assistants met to just.
Finalize it.
And I,
But we don't do a paper copy anymore.
Right.
oh, yeah, only. let
So-
people
Well, we did it by
want
request last year,
Yeah,
because I remember I got, yeah.
And I think that might put under the problem with, when we started looking at this in the fall, and the late fall, was that the board is supposed to approve it per the policy, like annually, but it goes out before we have our August meeting, because our August meeting is always have been, and we doesn't have to be, it's always been close to when school starts to
Mhm.
catch any extra.
You know, I think
Done.
it goes out during the welcome packets, which I
Right.
believe at the end of the second week of August.
Yeah, we would meet like the third, we've been meeting like the third week, so
Mhm.
I don't think the board, yeah, so I don't think the board has been like doing that the last couple of years,
Yeah.
because.
There hasn't been a whole lot of changes, I would think, in the last couple of years either, but with this one, I would feel like we really should have our eyes on it.
So we
Yeah,
could
yeah,
just
I
meet
mean-
the first week in August.
Yeah,
Can we get a copy of it, like get an electronic copy of it first? We can meet.
With the revisions in it?
yeah.
Yeah, once we have the direction of the revisions and what are meant to go in there, we can easily insert those.
And were her directives at both school, elementary and the middle high school? Okay, I just wasn't sure, 'cause
Mhm.
the two separate pieces.
Yeah, can you send that?
Administrative assistants
Yeah.
myself,
Yeah.
I don't know if Joe has it, but I know those people do have access to the edit copy, one that we can all get in there and make edits on.
So then we should set it up for like that. July 31st through 4th week,
So would that be our August board meeting though? Because,
No.
okay, so we'd have two meetings in August. Okay,
that's what,
all right, because we need one
just do
definitely
one to do
No,
this,
this is just for
for
the.
this. Okay,
Right.
cool.
Okay,
That's
just
good.
handbook.
make it a short one,
Okay.
hopefully,
I know,
we'll see.
yeah.
Good one.
I don't
Yeah, I know,
Sure.
I know.
Wishful thinking.
So do we want to do the second, or which would be a Wednesday?
That's fine.
That works for me.
That work?
That
I already
works.
have it in my
Oh my God, I do.
calendar already.
I do.
And on
yes,
repeat,
yeah,
maybe,
yeah,
so-
so there we go.
That's why I'm
Okay,
suggesting
yeah,
it.
Do you
August.
want to include any teachers and students?
Well, no, this is
To
just
your work on it, sure. I mean, that would be the stuff that
mean,
would
that
be done
was-
in July, right?
What do you think?
Or would it be more appropriate to have whoever's replacing him come
Yeah.
to that meeting?
Well,
Bridget?
what did we say earlier? That a board member and the new Connor.
The new Connor.
Would be working,
Connor 2.0.
working in the summer, right? With, or wherever you
Exactly.
guys are doing it.
Yeah.
That's
Or
gonna
whatever
be tricky
meeting
to do.
after, whenever Megan gets her recommendations. And then the piece in August is bringing it to the board. I
Right,
thought.
the piece
Right.
in August is bringing it to the board,
Right.
after all the stuff is done.
Right.
But that work group will include the student rep, a board member,
And then whichever,
and a couple of teachers, or?
yeah, I mean, I say let's wait and talk and, decide, you guys can decide it when we have the incoming,
Okay, yeah.
okay,
that's what you said.
get him this. No,
fine.
that's okay, yeah, circle back, it's fine. Get his opinion, or their opinion, I mean, it's been enough. with
Can
that,
we
like,
wait
it's-
that long if you want to get people in here? Don't you kind of have to let them know before they leave
Mm,
for the summer?
I mean,
kind of,
I mean, it might not be a bad idea to do preemptively.
right?
Gauge the interest, because I'm curious to see what would come back from Drummond and Woodson.
Mhm.
If they're like concrete things that there's not really any wiggle room that we have to
Sure.
kind of adhere by. I mean, that would kind of negate needing people to converse about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Insert, but things that if they make recommendations for us to update things based on our practices, where we have some wiggle room and flexibility in that.
Yeah, you're right, you're right. You know, we should probably get started with Megan's recommendations. And dependent upon how much wiggle room there is, we can decide whether we should include teachers or not in that. Just that I know that, you know, teachers will have issues with the code of conduct. And making sure that, you know, it's appropriate and so we should include teachers at some point.
Yeah.
Um,
Should we kind of gauge interest if teachers are available, because it might be one of those things. where
Right.
we're
Yeah, I think
gone,
that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Be good. Get feelers out there.
That's okay if I put out a email.
Yeah,
saying,
like in July, say
Maybe,
if you're
maybe one from middle school, one from the high school, and Joe can do one from this building or something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that would be.
That way, if they are interested, they can expect that.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they know to check their email or give you a different email,
right.
you know, if it's
Yeah, if they
summer
don't check
I will
it.
put that in
or something like that.
And maybe check with the or whichever student is chosen
Oh, yeah.
and let them know that there's a possibility.
Yeah, the meeting or two. if you want.
Yeah, it's too bad we didn't get on that sooner, so they could have a vote though, of who it is.
Well,
I
it's
kind
not-
of
it's not
like
us.
the idea of adults choosing, honestly, like we lucked out with Connor.
Well, I mean,
But you just never
they've chosen
know.
2 people and out of those 2 people. like,
Oh,
letting
okay,
the
that
students
makes sense.
decide who
That
it
seems
is.
safer.
Do you know what I mean? Like I'm saying,
Yeah, I personally approached both kids and asked them, I think they're a good, well-rounded students, it's
Mhm.
very respectable. No disciplinary type issues, that sort of stuff, a good
Mhm.
role model. type citizen
Right.
That does have a strong voice, they're not afraid to voice their opinions,
Oh, good.
so.
Awesome.
I think we'd be fine with either one.
I just meant like the students having a say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was my,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's how it was set up, but you know,
Yeah.
stuff happens, like it's been a crazy year, like.
If now I will say that the older student is a 3-sport athlete,
Mhm.
so that.
Oh,
may-
so they
That's gotta
have,
be a
this
lot.
has to be somebody who can, I mean, Connor barely missed any meetings, like
Right.
he was,
it was very
so
good.
yeah.
To my knowledge, the younger student is not a athlete or does not participate in athletics,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah.
That might be
Yeah,
something to
yeah, who
consider.
knows,
Available.
So what I could do is, talk it over to John and approach that older student, say, hey, this is gonna take us some time,
Mhm.
impede, going into your senior year, what do you want to do? If that student decides to back out, then that leaves us with one and
Mhm.
running unopposed.
Right.
For both.
Could we do kind of both since
No, the law
Not-
says one,
oh,
it's
it's
been-
not.
it's been changed this
It
year,
couldn't be a backup?
it's a law.
Cause
Yeah.
he's younger, so it'd be nice for like training purposes
Yeah,
too.
welcome to come and sit
Yeah.
but they
can't have a seat at the.
Does the law say it has to be a senior? I don't remember now.
No,
No,
I
it
think
just
so.
says a student.
Okay.
Just a student.
Okay.
And the
And-
younger one will be a freshman.
Maybe that's what it says. They just have to be entering high school.
I was gonna say, does it matter if just one of them attended, or it could only be one person ever?
Only be one.
Like there couldn't be a
person on the school
backup.
board.
We used to have 2 that alternated,
Right.
Yeah.
the law changed, I think it's just.
So
Yeah.
it can just be one.
Yeah.
ever
Yeah,
at
now,
all.
now it's a law that you have to have one. I mean, we have had it for years. but
Right, yeah.
It's been a voluntary thing, and now it's like a law that you have to have one. It was just this year that you have to have one. I
If
mean,
you
I don't know
wanted
if
to have one
nobody's
anyway, but-
interested, but I don't know
Yeah.
what you do then.
Well, I think for that, as long as it's like positions, as long as you're advertising for it, if you can't get one,
Yeah.
you can't fix that.
Yeah.
Okay, so August 1st,
Oh, it's second.
yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
6 o'clock.
Yeah, 6 p.m.
And the second August meeting?
School starts when? Next year? You know?
It starts the
When-
30th,
30th, okay.
What about for teachers?
22nd.
Tuesday before.
25th, it starts. for them.
20,
Does that include the 3 days?
Yeah, the 25th.
Yeah.
No.
25th is a Friday,
Before
Right.
that. That's when teachers come back.
on that Friday.
New teachers come on the Tuesday.
Tuesday, okay.
Second, yep.
So what do we gonna meet? Like
So we could meet the 23rd
23rd or the week before?
or the week before either way.
Whatever you guys think.
I won't be here.
When?
August, I'm probably going to Florida that week, so I won't be here.
The 23rd or the week of the.
The week of the
21st,
21st,
whatever.
I won't be here.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5 Wednesdays.
Yeah.
So yeah, so like. This, the third or fourth Wednesday would work, it'd be close, yeah. If you want to do the third Wednesday, the 16th.
16th?
I mean, it's still
Yeah.
closer than the second Wednesday, so.
Yeah.
6 o'clock still.
And this is the actual.
This is the
school
actual
board
board
meeting.
meeting. All right, so that is 8/16, 23, 6 p.m. Okay. All right. And then, so any other business? It was right.
I don't have anything else.
Nope. All right. And then we have our committee reports.
Do we have anything from that?
Oh,
That'd
right.
be if, we're talking about all that stuff in non-public, aren't
Okay,
we?
got it,
Like all that stuff,
got it.
yeah.
All right, so then personnel committee,
I mean, I thought you wanted that in non-public.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's fine.
what I thought you said, okay.
let's see, we met on May 23rd. Our next meeting is June 27th. At 4:30.
Okay, did I know that?
I don't know, I don't
Okay.
know, I probably forgot to tell you. after
Because
the
I'm on
meeting,
that.
sorry.
Okay, that's okay. All right. June 27th, you said?
Yes.
All right, thanks.
Oops.
I guess I didn't do that, like, if I know it or not. Remember?
Can't remember. Being significant to bring to the board for that meeting though.
I don't know, because I missed the last one. Yeah, I couldn't get out of work. I think the job descriptions probably was
Yeah.
it, right?
Where you
From
talked about the
personnel
job
committee.
descriptions.
That was what came out of it?
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
that's it. Thank you.
And we're gonna have some more for next personnel committee meeting.
Perfect. Health and wellness.
That was canceled.
Has it been rescheduled yet, Joe?
No, so Mrs. Hudon is the chairman, I think that's problematic personally.
Yep.
I think we have to get somebody within the school system to head up that committee personally.
That's how it's been historically,
Hmm.
somebody in the school.
Yeah,
Mhm.
at the meeting when we were electing officers. To be the chair. So a meeting will be scheduled at some point. We gotta get with Sarah.
What's that?
We'd have to, Sarah has to call the meeting, right? As the chair.
Yeah, but I think that's
Right.
where the problem was.
Mhm.
So somebody should talk to her.
Yeah.
If they chose to call a meeting.
I see her.
I'll see her in the morning. Do you want me to bring it up to her or no?
Yeah.
Don't you work like next to her?
If she's there.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, busy. Not in the same building.
That's
right?
true, yeah, it's not like.
I can't see her car 24/7, so, yeah, have her
Reach out. Yep.
reach out to me or.
Okay.
We need a meeting, yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Finance Budget Committee, we met on June 6th I met with the Budget Committee. Our next meeting is July 27th. There wasn't a lot for the school at that meeting. Went over, they had some questions for the town. But on the 27th, I assume they'll have some budget questions for the schools. financials, because we've been sending them our monthly reports. Then they have April's, I'll send them May's after this meeting. And they may or may not have June by then, but they'll just get the end of the year report once we're done with that.
Oh, yeah, that's the one that want.
Yeah. Staff development.
That was also canceled. And I don't think I've seen an email rescheduling that, but I could have missed it.
That would be Karen, is she still on?
Yeah, Karen, oh no.
No, she's gone, okay. All right, then legislation.
Okay, so the only, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, but the only thing I remembered to, that I think is kind of important is. So, all students, the law that all students have to pass. The civics test and the naturalization, the test every year starts to take effect now, July 1st. So to graduate, you have to pass the, US immigration test that they give to, when you become a US citizen. In the budget, there, I think it was the Senate, I'm not past the House yet, but passed like 1.5 million for a textbook, a state sponsored civics textbook for every student for a separate, I believe it's a separate state civics exam, not just the naturalization exam, but I could be wrong about that. I have to double check. But there's so everybody has to pass the state civics, a civics exam in order to graduate.
I so hate this.
Yes,
Sorry.
it's kind of like back when Massachusetts did the MCAS.
Have you seen that test?
It's the same one that you have to take to become a citizen in the United
It's pretty
States.
easy.
It's wicked.
It's wicked
Yeah.
easy.
I have,
still-
I have the flashcards. I can bring them. in.
Yeah, it's, yeah.
Gina's gonna teach.
Like how many chambers of government,
I mean, it's
stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was gonna say that.
So essentially, the
Honestly,
seniors
really
have to take the test for
Definitely
next,
should know.
next year.
Yes,
in order to
yeah,
graduate.
I believe
have to
they
pass
started
it.
on it this year.
Did
Doesn't mean
they?
Take
Oh,
it
good.
all at once, they can break it up.
Right, yeah, I mean, I know
Oh, really?
that was the
Oh,
plan,
good.
moving forward was to break it up. Freshmen, like every year, they take a part of it or whatever, break it up that way, but, like the juniors and seniors are not gonna have as much time
Yeah,
with it,
they're gonna
so,
get hit with it a little bit hard.
yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
But then the piece I have to refresh my memory and read up more about is this state civics, that's hard to say, state civics textbook, that's 1.5 million that was approved in the budget just like last week or whatever, where everybody gets this textbook and it has something to do with a state civics thing. But that's not the same as the citizenship test, so.
Mhm.
It's the first time I've heard that.
Yeah, I just read about it today. It was part of the budget that I think passed the Senate. I don't know if it passed the House yet,
I think it.
but yeah, it was I know it was 1.5 million, which is just, fabulous use of 1.5.
Yeah. I could think of much better use for it.
Yes, but anyway, so that's the most exciting thing that I saw going on in legislation.
All right. And pass. Kendra?
That is me. We just met before this meeting. I think we all know that we did get the grant. We did rank the highest in our scoring in the state.
Nice.
Wow,
Um,
that's huge.
Yeah, I didn't know
Yep. Marianne is now jumping the hurdles of trying to finish up the current grant to begin the new grant on top of,
It never ends.
that, right?
yeah, on top of preparing for camp and trying to figure out how much time she really truly has to finish up this grant, begin the grant, and prepare properly for camp. So she's trying to figure out the best time to start camp this summer. Believing, I think July 5th through the 18th possibly is camp, right? So
Right,
we
that's
said
camp.
that's actual camp. So she's just trying to figure out what she's got to do. She's got a lot of work to do, but she obviously has got a lot of relief in knowing that it was approved and we've got it. So I think it's going well.
Good.
And that's it.
Yes. Grateful that we got that grant.
Yeah.
I
So
isn't
isn't she.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. We always rank pretty high, but I don't know if we've ever gotten like the highest.
I know,
Yeah, we
highest for
didn't
the
get
whole
what we
state.
asked for. Am I allowed to say the number?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Probably
we
have to
asked for
raise it.
like 200 and some thousand, I think it was 204, and we got 168, so we still got a good amount, and I think she said it was more than last time, right?
So
So,
there's more requirements every
Yeah.
year, so that
Mhm.
they should be increasing.
I
the
know,
funding.
right?
yeah. I think she said too, the only difference she has to do this year was that she has to break it up into, middle school and elementary.
Okay.
So she's gotta revamp that a little bit, and she didn't seem scared though. She seemed ready.
Usually they pile all kinds of academic requirements on her too,
Oh,
so
right.
that's probably
Yeah.
a relief.
Yeah,
No more.
she's got it.
Like to just thank her and everybody else that worked on that.
It's a
For
big
sure.
program.
All right, selectmen. So I know Kayla is having trouble getting to the meetings, so, and is not feeling like she can commit to this. So, I'm gonna ask for volunteers to take it over.
I was gonna say backup was school board, so.
Yeah, all right, I know, but someone really needs to be like the
Right.
main person for it. So, I don't know if there's like a switch in committees that somebody wants to make. I know that I just looked
Yeah,
at
that
it
would be-
quickly. And I'm.
When do they meet?
Mondays, so just
Every
pick a
Monday?
Monday.
But you don't have to go.
You only go the
You
one.
only have to go one. It used to be
One
the,
right
the
before
one
the
after,
meeting.
the one after our the one right after our school board meeting is how it always was. So it's fresh in your mind, but it doesn't have to be.
And what time is it?
Six, they meet?
Is it 6?
Sean, is it
Sean,
six?
Sean, can you
Sean on
Sean?
mute.
Or answer.
It's 6 o'clock. It's every Monday. Summer schedule is every other week and they should be starting the summer schedule soon.
Oh, so we can ease into it.
Every other.
But you don't have to go to all of them.
No, just one a
Just
month.
one a
Why you
month.
say me?
Because you
You
asked.
asked.
I'm just kidding, I'll
Sounds
take
like,
it.
sounds like volunteering.
I know, yeah.
I can't make Mondays, so that
Not as
doesn't for
long
me.
either.
Because they meet.
Not as
every-
ours.
Yeah, like boards
Yeah.
who meet twice a month, I did some research on this, and boards who meet twice a month meet half as long as we meet, which.
Yeah, I think Brattleboro meet twice a month.
Well, there's a couple
Yeah.
other boards over here too, and it's, yeah, and, you know, it's. But it's a trade-off.
So Kendra, did you want me to
meetings
take
or, yeah.
something from your committee?
No, I don't really have anything. I mean, the HAS meeting lasts like 7.5 minutes, so
I
that's
was
good.
kind of
And you're here
hoping
anyway.
that's
Yeah, and I'm
the
here
one you
anyway, so
wanted
yeah,
to
no,
do.
I'm good. I'll just take it.
Okay, fine.
Thank you, Kendra.
You're welcome.
I don't know.
And if there's ever a month that you feel like you can't make one meeting, just let us know and one of us can probably step up.
Yeah, and do you want me to be your backup? So if you can't, then you can. The whole
I'm just
school board was
kidding.
my backup and no one could do it.
Yeah, yeah. If I can, I'll text you.
Okay, right.
I have.
Wait, where do they meet? Down?
the
down?
Town hall, yeah.
I think I've interrupted it before
Downtown.
trying to go for
Yeah, right.
one of our meetings.
For
and
one
then
of
I
our
walked in.
meetings,
Where
yeah.
was our meeting?
I can't remember. We met there.
Oh,
one-
for HEF.
Yeah, for half.
Okay, yep,
Yeah.
all right.
She's crashed their meeting anyways.
I
Because we
barely-
meet in the community center for half, and sometimes we meet in the town hall if the community center has something going on, so.
And I was
She
like
went to
5
the
minutes
town
late,
hall,
like a wrecking
we
ball.
were
I
over the
run in
community
there and I'm
center.
like,
And they're like, these are the wrong people.
Oh,
where are you?
I have one thing for selectmen. I was looking at their minutes, and I don't remember I don't think it was last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. They discussed about, and this has been on from when I used to go sometimes too. It's been a while in the making. The selectman door does not work. The one on, like, you know, you have the big double doors and the one over here.
Yeah, you gotta go in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't work. So they've been talking about fixing it for a couple of years now, and there's like issues. It's a big project, I guess, with the wall and everything. Anyway, so they have, and I think they voted. I don't think it was consensus. Either way, they decided it's gonna cost like, I think it was $70,000 or $60,000 to do that whole thing, because they have to do like the wall and then they're gonna do the 2 double doors too, right? I believe. But the point of my story is not that, you know, how much it is, but anyway, so they are, you know, funding it half, I guess, with some of their maintenance funds, but they're using $35,000 of we closed this warrant article that we had from back in the 80s. And we closed it out because it was a maintenance one, and the DRA, the way they made us do it was at district meeting last year, we had to close it it goes into the general fund because the school district cannot have an account. So all the money, when we give back money for taxes that we have from grants and whatever over and above the 300,000 we usually give back goes into the general fund. And it never gets told to the public it came from the school, even though it did. But so this 35,000, the plan was you have to go back to the general fund. We talked to the ERA and they said, well, if you want to, we wanted to then put it into our maintenance trust, whatever.
The other one,
expendable trust,
one we have
maintenance,
to,
the one that we have our
charge
regular
for.
maintenance expendable trust, because it was school earmarked money back in the 80s. It was raised for that. So it was gonna go, it had to go into the general fund. That was the mechanism. We were gonna do a warrant article next year to put it into our building fund. Because it is building money, the selectmen are using that $35,000 towards doors at the town hall. So just an FYI, nothing we can do about it because it had to go into the town account. So just an FYI, it was a school warrant article back from the 80s that is now going toward door replacement. Just thought you guys would want to know about that,
Mhm.
so. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
It's valued at $36,000 the band thing. So it's gone
That
up a little
fund.
bit.
Oh, so then they get 36.
And we can't transfer the money to them until after 6:30, so I did put that in place so that it's gonna happen on the first week of July.
Yeah, and then they're gonna use it. for the-
It's earmarked for maintenance.
Well, it was earmarked for the school. Once
Yeah.
it goes in the general fund, it
In this
can be used
particular
for
fund-
whatever. It could have been used to offset taxes even, you know? But
And this particular fund, for us to use it, we would have had to have a separate meeting in order to take money out of it. That's why we closed it.
I was gonna say, why didn't we just use it for maintenance on our school?
that would be a Jody question because she did all the research.
We talked about combining it. And then the only way to combine it was to give it back and then ask for it back in the later, so.
No, but I think she said, I was asking, which I don't know if we talked about
Like
this
with
time,
the
why
fund.
didn't we spend money out of that fund for our own maintenance stuff? As we were going along, I don't know. We talked about it, I don't remember what the reason was. We did talk. That we decided to do it this way, but we thought we would have it. Since it was raised by the school.
Yeah, that seems,
It was different. The fund itself is different than our normal funds that we
Yeah,
have.
it's-
So, and I
Yeah,
think
there's
that
two
was an
different
issue.
funds. This was the other.
There was an expendable trust, I can't remember. what
Right.
it's called.
Trust, it's, yeah.
It was something else. Which I thought was the issue, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was my thought process, like, why couldn't we just use it?
like, we have maintenance.
Yeah.
Oh, I see
All
what
right,
you're
but
saying,
there
why
was
we.
something
We would have
couldn't
had
use
to, we would have had to have a whole thing in order to take money out of it to use it.
Well, we have to anyway, if we take money out of, don't we have to have a public hearing at any point, even on our regular expendable trust, we need to have a public hearing. Yeah, we do.
I haven't
Sean
researched
says
that. I don't know.
capital reserve
Yeah.
versus expendable
Right,
trust.
yeah.
But even,
Yeah, right,
even
right.
expendable trust, we have to have the public hearing, like when we take stuff out of the sped expendable trust, we usually just have a brief public hearing before school board, so we'd still have to have a hearing.
Okay.
Yeah, no matter what. Yeah,
My
Anyway.
recollection is more difficult with this particular fund, so
could be, yeah,
our easy solution to it was to do what we plan to do with it.
yeah. I don't know.
All right.
It's a good faith, effort to reduce taxes.
Right. Yeah. All right, so facilities and maintenance, I did do a little outline of what we talked about, so you guys should all have that. If there's any questions, I'll be more than happy to try to answer them.
You know, I do wanna just bring up, we talked about the air conditioning in this building, it's freezing here, but, in the business office, weeks ago, it was up to 82 degrees. It was like 77 2 days in a row, and I went to 82 degrees. It's really almost impossible to work on numbers when it's 82 degrees.
And it hasn't been really
and-
hot outside yet.
Yeah, it's not even hot yet, and, you know, I was loath to spend the money, so but I did, Sean Lee did some more research and he found a unit much cheaper,
Okay.
so we did order it, and I think it was in like 4 and change, so we did order it.
Oh,
but
that's
it
good.
just can't
Yeah,
work when it's 82 in May, you know?
yeah.
That is.
Yeah, because.
And was that after he charged
And I
it?
like it hot, but geez.
Yeah. And was
And
that
the
after he
SAU
charged
is-
it?
That was after he
Yeah,
charged it, so
It was done.
it It's done, it's
Yeah.
cooked, and
And the SAU is year round, so they're
Mhm.
definitely, when it's 100 out, it needs to
Yes.
not
Yeah,
be
yeah.
120 in here.
yeah, we're in the middle block, so it
Right.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. Okay.
So any questions on that? Other than that?
Thank you for the.
Can I
In
just say,
Sean
Sean
fashion.
fashion.
can I
I-
just say irony though, need to look at double. doors.
Right, yeah.
So.
Right, I know. Well,
So we
the locking
also
of them.
need- Okay, good.
It's the
not-
locking of
so
them
we're
for
not
like
gonna
when
also
we,
have to spend
for when
some
we,
money.
when we're in lockdown,
Okay.
because of the double doors, if you just, if you can lock them, but if you just push on them, they're gonna open up.
Okay,
So there's needs to, they're working on a way to like
actually lock.
actually lock one of them, so you can't just push them both and have it open.
It's like,
So-
oh man, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
that We also have
Yeah,
the same
right. We
also have a door
problem.
problem.
It's more of a lock thing than it is a door thing.
Okay, good. Phew.
Yeah, I think their door doesn't even open, it's like the door.
Yeah,
But
that's-
they make it, I don't think even
Yeah.
open.
I can't remember the last time I went through that door.
That's why.
Yeah. All right. Community connections.
Moving along.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking, with the updates on all the end of year dates or whatever, making a post with all that stuff on there and putting it out on there, so everybody, so it's up there somewhere. So I'll take the information from the principal's report and put that up. Behavioral support.
I have no idea when we're meeting.
I know, it's like, oh
Is that
man.
another one that was
Well, we
canceled?
did, remember we talked at the last meeting about having our transition meetings. I'm sure Rick Dunlin knows what's wrong with me, but we talked a lot about that transition in fifth to sixth grade and matching up our behavior plans
Right.
better with middle school. So during that May 26th afternoon as well, the behavior interventionists from both schools and the school social workers from both schools were able to meet together and make plans on transitioning the students, the particular students going from fifth grade into the middle school.
No, that's
Oh,
very good.
We're,
Nice.
we're getting a little bit ahead on that, but there's still a lot of work.
Mhm.
And when is the next meeting?
We didn't schedule one.
Okay.
Wanted to find out from each of you what you want to meet
What
like in
works.
August or wait until September.
I think the end of August is gonna get busy,
I was just gonna say, I think.
maybe the
September
early
would be better.
September-ish.
I'm not sure. Like Mr. Fleming and Mrs. Donahue both have, I think, 200-day contracts, so I don't know really when they're gonna be around.
Do you wanna just do September?
Might be better to
Yeah, I'm good. After the holiday,
so second week in September.
yeah.
No, I'll have all the other stuff, well, at least whatever progress we've made on the SWOT analysis and all the survey data.
Right.
And what time were we gonna,
I think we usually did 9:30, but
okay, I was gonna say, do we have a Zoom option?
I don't, well, if there's not a meeting next door, we do, whenever they're, like, I don't think we only have one Zoom license. So if there wasn't a meeting next door, we could do Zoom.
I can probably go on late for Monday too.
We
Is
use,
there a day that's better?
we
A day
used
that-
Teams one day
Oh,
for
Tuesdays and
facilities when there
Thursdays
was
are
a
actually
meeting and I
holidays.
zoomed in.
Yeah.
It was a little hard to hear, but I don't know if that was Teams or something
that-
weird.
yeah.
happening.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't Teams
Tuesday-
issue. Oh, okay, then.
Tuesday, Thursday.
That was bad.
It wasn't a team's issue.
No.
Yeah,
It was a
me
town
too.
system issue and it's just resolved.
Oh,
Okay.
so then you
So
could use
Teams
Teams.
is the Bible option for any remote meeting that we ever have to host.
Joe, if it's a Tuesday or a Thursday morning, we're good.
Yeah, that works.
Tuesday or
Better
Thursday
for
are the
both.
calmer days.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so joint loss committee.
That was canceled and I haven't seen a rescheduled one yet.
Yeah, I don't know, I can't find a date.
Well, I've
I
been
have-
stewing
I have
over
my
it though.
Vacation coming up and next week is,
In
crazy.
the school, yeah.
So I don't know that we're gonna be able to have one in June,
I really wanted one.
Oh, darn, another.
but then everybody's away, so can't have employees there.
Mm.
So we're gonna have to meet in September.
Well, I'll just stew over it all summer.
All right, policy committee.
Well, that one was canceled.
I see a
Going
theme.
around.
But,
Guys, it's summer fever happening,
right.
okay?
People are busy right now.
well, but we, had finished up the, cell phone policy, so we'll just have to, when, the new interim comes in, kind of reconvene. One thing I was looking at, and I initially thought it'd be kind of a summer project for me, so it depends on how crazy I feel about it, but I noticed when, and I don't know, like, we used to have our policy manual and it was a PDF. And I know Anne it was editable, so Anne could go in and put in, remove policies, new policies, as we updated them. And you could do a control F and just search it and whatever is a PDF. Now it's on SharePoint, and I know you guys internally can search it, but those of us accessing it from the outside can't search it. You have to click on each one. And I noticed that there are less policies in this new manual than there are in our old manual. So, and some of those might be because like the NHSBA might have dropped them, or some of it, or maybe there was some errors
Might
with
have been
the
duplicates.
yeah, or some errors with the converting over. So I started a spreadsheet. I only got 3 policies in before. I'm like, well, maybe it'll be my summer project. I wanted to kind of compare them and see
What was missing?
what was missing. So I might try to do that. When I'm missing
I
the
know.
school board in July right now.
Yeah.
Just because, and we were talking about this at an NHSBA thing about different boards and how, one guy had like a whole program that compared manuals, but I don't have that, I just got spreadsheet. So I might look at that because I'm interested to see, because there is a difference. There's quite a few more policies on our quote old manual than there is on the SharePoint site. So,
the SharePoint site is the policy.
well, that's the current policy manual, yeah, but if you Google Hinsdale, New Hampshire School Board Policy Manual, one of the second or third hits comes up as a PDF.
Okay.
And it's our old one. And don't take it down, Justin, if you have anything to do with it, because I'm looking at it, but I'm seeing one of his phone. But
No, I'm
You better
trying
save
to
it.
figure out the search problem, because that's the first I've ever heard of that.
oh, from the
One
outside,
of the major reasons why we switched over to SharePoint was that we had a search feature that you could just search at the top level, and it'll search every single Word document. It also allows us to have the accessibility tools built in Office 365. So immersive reader can read to people, it can change the font, color, break it down, all the parts, it can translate. Those are all the huge selling points of switching over to SharePoint. So the fact that you can't search,
maybe it's
that's a
user and
huge issue, and I haven't heard.
I mean, I'm coming from the outside, like I go to the
Right.
website, like not you guys using, because I know Kim has said he can search in it. And
But
well,
Justin
Kim
sounds
has
like
said that.
Sharon.
Maybe Kim-
I was able to search, now I can't.
Oh,
Yeah.
this
I
was
just
early,
got it
this
today.
was early on, in like maybe January. you know,
Just it's probably. a
Right.
user problem.
It could be a user problem.
Yeah.
I hope they didn't change something for the non-logged in users.
Because
That would be what I meant,
Oh,
not
yeah.
logged in.
I remember when I lost the capability temporarily and I can't remember what we had to do to get it back. I honestly can't remember what we had to do, but it did go away and then I did something that brought it back.
Because I would imagine for parents and stuff, it would be hard because you used to be able to just do a control F on the old one. At least I know I have a pretty good grasp of the manual, so I can find stuff.
Well, that was the problem, is that many people didn't know which sections even go control
Right.
F or.
Right.
I don't know, it's a huge
Yeah.
issue finding stuff in the past unless you knew exactly where to go. So that was one of the selling points here, but.
Yeah,
Especially if it can read to
yeah.
people.
Right, yeah.
They're inclusive, I like.
Yeah, that's nice.
So anyway, so it looks like several of us will be taking a look at that. So,
there are some policies that we're gonna revise the sexual harassment policy. And I have a model from Drummer Woodson. And I forget who it was. Megan or Matt said, there isn't much revision that we can do at the local level. It is what it is.
Right.
But I looked at that compared to what we have, and it seems to be more user friendly.
Yeah, we probably have the NHSBA
Yes.
sample policy.
Um, The dress code, the student dress code is.
Oh, yes, that was one that we
Yeah.
wanted to start and get some students
With the
involved.
students, yeah.
Yeah,
So we gotta figure out a process.
we've done it in the past, but I know like,
The
know.
current policy was created with students, I believe. and
yeah,
so,
absolutely, yeah.
So,
And they even came to the school board meeting and,
And
you know, sat with,
presented.
sat with
Yeah, they
Andrew
did. It
Tag
was
and
great.
presented it,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was like, 27 or 17, 20.
but
No,
there
it
might
might have
be
been
some
Right,
kind of a,
marketing.
yeah.
Okay, so it was
Never gonna
2017.
happen, but I wasn't on the board. but-
Yeah.
So maybe it was 17. So it was a while ago.
I was gonna say,
It
it's
was a
not
while
longer
ago.
than that,
Um,
because I feel like it was around 2017, I was complaining about it.
Some phrase in 7 sticks in my head, so maybe that's.
2007.
No,
maybe?
it's not
that's
that
not-
old, it's not that old.
17. 2012.
Oh, so
That
maybe
sounds more
that sounds-
accurate.
Okay, for some reason.
That sounds
7
about
stuck in
right.
my head, stuck in my head, maybe 11.
It was a while.
Or
ago.
no, that'd be 11 years.
It probably should be revised because stores
Yeah.
don't sell anything that fits
Yeah.
our dress code
You
anymore.
can't buy that anymore.
No,
Bottom
no,
half is-
and they barely did then.
I know.
They barely did then, yeah.
But that, you know, part of the new superintendent will probably take that over
Mhm.
and figure out
Yeah.
what the process should look like, and then, you know, include Chris and so on, you know, in that process. So there's a lot to consider with the dress code. That dress code policy, if it's done well, take some time to get it done.
Great.
So,
All right, so the superintendent search.
You could probably announce if they announce it to
Yes.
staff.
So we have a new interim superintendent and that's accepted the position, David Ryan. We're very excited about him coming into the district. I think he'll be very good for the district. He comes highly recommended. He's well liked, so I have high hopes. And then we'll be revisiting the permanent committee in fall area.
Yeah.
To get that started back up for the permanent position. Hopefully that will be in place before the end of next year.
And we think it'll go faster because we've done all the work.
Yeah, we've done all the
You know,
work now, so it
yeah.
shouldn't be as many meetings either,
Exactly,
hopefully.
yeah, so just kind of get back up to speed and
Yeah,
get out with interviews and whatnot.
yeah. So that's good. We're very excited.
Yes.
Tuition exploratory committee. Which should also be getting started soon, hopefully.
Yep, after, right.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that more in non-public.
You looked at me like I was at the meeting and I was like, oh, yeah, I don't think we had a meeting. I can't. It was canceled.
No, it's canceled. I was like,
Stop looking
we
at me.
haven't
I was
had
like,
it.
I know, did you
We
see
will
her
after
jump?
tonight. All right, so before we move on to citizen comments, I would just like to say thank you to Connor and Jody and Kim, because it's all your last meeting here tonight. And since you're all sitting together, it's so convenient, I can give you
Did we plan that?
our little
like-
cards if you come up with for you guys. Thank you for all your work in the district and with everything, you know, it's been a pleasure. So thank you. All right, so citizen comments, do we have anybody in the audience now? Anybody
There
online
were
still
some
left?
comments in the chat too.
Oh.
Was it mostly like, we can't hear? I saw some that was like,
There,
we
I
can't hear,
did see
right?
that at one point, but I think Alex said something else too.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear us now?
All right, yeah. Can you hear me now?
Parent surveys.
There were parent surveys.
We did
There was a
community,
right?
wasn't there a community survey?
I believe so, but I
No.
believe that
Not on this
as
subject.
part of the norms that we conducted, that would be a a big opportunity to gather.
Yeah.
From the parent and the community.
Yeah,
So not yet, but there will be.
yes,
I mean, we did surveys with the superintendent, sir.
yeah,
You know,
that was
not
on this
two
subject.
surveys, so.
Oh, that's right. I was gonna say, no, I didn't.
No big sandwich.
Yeah.
Okay, I think students should have a right here, who goes to the meeting.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I mean, I think from that aspect, when it comes to having a student on, like, representing the board, I think that, I- while I agree that, like, the school staff should have some choice in the matter, I feel like ultimately, I think that should come down to the students, because I think that's gonna help them feel more comfortable expressing their concerns, and they're gonna have, I think, just a better connection with choosing a person to fill that spot long term. And I think that builds support, making them part of the solution and helping build that connection that way. So I just think it's important that, that's a student elected position.
Yeah, I
That's
agree.
my
That's how the,
defense.
that's how the board set it up, so it changed without board discussion, so I agree.
I also think there's negatives to having a student elected and the fact where, like, just like Connor said, students a lot of the times don't take things seriously, like something like that, and they're gonna vote for somebody who's gonna have less serious concerns, when they,
More for like the administration picking a couple of kids and then having an election for
Yeah.
it, you know what I mean, like in that regard.
So John did put out several announcements in the morning for student interest, and one of those two that I mentioned came forward.
Mhm.
That was it.
Yep.
And until I went up to the second one and asked her, that student, if they would like to,
Mhm.
if this is something that might gauge your interest.
Right.
that doesn't surprise me.
I mean, that's the issue too, with elections at any level.
Mhm.
True. All the way,
Voter turnout.
all the way up,
Yeah.
people, it depends on who runs,
Just
depending
get
who turns out to vote,
Yeah.
what you could get. So all the way from the dog catcher to the president. Just,
If they
Right.
both agree, is there time to have any kind of a vote? That's probably way too much to take on before the end.
Right, yeah,
Would it be done? Well,
Possibly.
So,
Does it feel
So,
like a useful?
yeah.
way to
I'm
use
sorry, my other thought was maybe have, almost like a student elected for one grade. It's only like two grades, have like a junior and a senior, that way you're kind of working students up. So I know you guys were talking about having alternates and stuff like that. So maybe having like a junior step up in there as well.
There can only
it
be
helps
one.
them.
Well, that's what we can say. We can look into the law. We're like 99% positive when the law changed, it's a student board member gets elected or chosen or whatever. So, but we can look at it because we might be wrong,
And-
but we're almost positive that the
Yeah,
law.
but
I-
it's just one, not.
So
not
the
an
law-
alternate or-
requires one, but couldn't we?
We have to
allow-
read- I think let's read the law.
I think we have to read.
We have to read
yeah,
the law and
reread
find
it,
out. Yeah.
So we're not mistaken.
So I'm thinking if the law provided for an alternate, we probably would have done that at the time, because we already had alternates to our student reps, so you know what I mean? That's my gut feeling, if the law provided for it, we would have done it. I mean, but I don't know, who knows what we were thinking, that was a year ago.
Right,
So definitely worth looking into.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll look into it.
Okay, and then my only other thing was, overhearing the conversation about the SATs and how some of the students weren't taking it so seriously. That's unfortunate. That was just my 2 cents on. I don't really have any input that's gonna help at all. I just think it was very important to hear that some students were just rushing to get through it, and didn't care what they got for a score.
Mhm.
It seems like there's the lack of knowledge of importance. What kind of impact that could have for students looking to get secondary education.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lack of knowledge from the students that it is important. I think the students that do so are well aware of the importance if they were to want to go to college, but they are also, the ones who did so were also the ones who were very dead set on not going to college.
Yeah, so for them, it's really not important.
It's not,
They're not
right.
going to college.
Okay, that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Alex. Sean, do you have any comments?
Just want to agree with Alex on the, on voting for the student rep. So I know you guys just talked about that, so I'm just gonna say me too. And, just, you know, for clarity and all that, the, policies you reaffirmed were DAB, DFA.
I did say them. Mute him.
I just wanted to make
I didn't
sure
say
that
it,
they were read
Sean.
out loud for the record.
See, I told you Sean always did it.
Other than that, no, I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Sean.
Sean.
All right, so at this time, if there's no other business, we'll go into
I think she asked Donna.
Oh,
first.
sorry.
Did you ask Donna?
Yeah, I did ask Donna.
Did you have any comments?
No.
I did. I did.
Okay, I just couldn't remember.
I always ask here first and then go
Okay.
there. That's my
Okay.
process anyway.
Great.
So now.
It's kind of weird being online while Donna's actually there. It
Right, yeah,
roles are
right.
reversed.
Feel switched.
All right, so we need a roll call to go into non-public.
We need a
Motion to go, sorry.
We'll make the motion to go into non-public under RSA 91A dash, or A colon 3(2).
Can we just put all? of them?
I know, I was like.
Yeah.
uh-huh.
Oh, you're gonna
I'm
read
trying
it?
to write it.
I know,
Yeah, good
now
job,
Gina's
Gina.
feeling official, Sean.
Nice.
I'll second that whole motion.
Oh, roll call.
Yes.
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 All right, so we are in non-public.
Bye.